It doesn't look new. Same clean slab, same minimalist identity, same camera bar stretching across the back. Your brain sees it and immediately says, same old Pixel. But look closer. That camera bar is now fully blacked out, merging into the glass like it's trying to vanish entirely. And suddenly, it doesn't feel familiar anymore. It feels controlled, deliberate, like Google stopped experimenting and started perfecting. That distinction is everything. The Pixel 11 Pro arrives with a 6.3-inch LTPO AMOLED display, and Google is holding that size intentionally. This isn't a cost decision. It's a statement that compact flagships still have a place in a market obsessed with larger screens. The panel itself features adaptive refresh technology, pushing smoothness during active use and conserving power during idle moments. High-end behavior in a focused footprint. But here's the detail that will quietly frustrate a lot of people. Despite appearing nearly identical to its predecessor, the body dimensions are shifting by approximately 0.1 millimeters. That sounds irrelevant until the practical reality hits. Your Pixel 10 Pro case won't fit at all. A fraction of a millimeter. Maximum inconvenience. Classic Google. Inside is where the Pixel 11 Pro's real story begins, and it's more significant than a spec refresh. The Tensor G6 is arriving with a reported 7-core architecture, a leaner, more deliberately balanced configuration than previous generations. But the chip itself isn't the headline. The modem is. Google is reportedly switching to a MediaTek M90 modem, moving away from Samsung's older modem setup. And for anyone who's followed Pixel's history, that single change carries enormous weight. Pixel phones haven't just struggled with raw performance, they've struggled with consistency. Signal drops in moderate coverage areas, heat spikes during sustained use, battery drain that felt disproportionate to the workload. These aren't software problems, they're foundation problems. The MediaTek modem switch is Google acknowledging that openly and attempting to fix it at the source. If it delivers, this addresses years of legitimate user frustration in one architectural decision. Battery capacity on the Pixel 11 Pro is expected to land just under the XL model, somewhere in the 5,000 mAh range, subject to final hardware tuning. On paper, that reads as a routine upgrade, nothing that generates excitement. But context changes everything here. Pair that capacity with a more efficient modem and a structurally redesigned Tensor chip, and you're not simply adding battery life, you're changing how the phone behaves throughout the day. Less thermal throttling during demanding tasks, more stable performance across extended use, fewer moments where you're checking the battery percentage and questioning what your phone has been doing for the past 2 hours. The number on the spec sheet is almost irrelevant. The daily behavior it enables is the actual upgrade. The Pixel 11 Pro is expected to start at 256 gigabytes, no 128 gigabyte entry tier. That's not generosity, it's economics. Component costs, particularly advanced flash storage and chip packaging, continue rising globally. Rather than maintaining cheaper variants with tighter margins, Google appears to be consolidating around a single, higher baseline entry point. Pricing is expected to land around the $1,200 range based on previous generation trends, with pre-orders likely opening same day as the announcement and shipping to follow shortly after. Google's launch timing has become almost predictable, mid-August following their established reveal cycle. The hardware may surprise people, the calendar won't. Here's what makes the Pixel 11 Pro genuinely interesting and genuinely different from how most flagships compete. While other manufacturers are adding periscope telephoto lenses, experimental form factors, and aggressive exterior redesigns to capture attention, Google is doing something quieter and arguably more difficult. It's stabilizing everything underneath: thermal consistency, signal reliability, battery efficiency, background performance, the invisible layer of the experience that determines whether you enjoy using a phone after 6 months, not just whether you're impressed by it on day one. That creates a strange market position, a phone that looks almost identical to its predecessor on the outside, but may feel completely different in the daily reality of actually living with it. And that raises the most important questions surrounding this device. If the Pixel 11 Pro finally fixes the efficiency and consistency problems that have followed Pixel devices for years, does it become the first Pixel that doesn't feel like a compromise at launch? Because that's the line Google has been approaching for several generations, close enough to be genuinely promising, never quite fully crossed. The Pixel 11 Pro isn't trying to impress you in the first 5 minutes. It's trying to disappear into your daily life until you gradually realize you're charging less frequently, your phone isn't getting warm in your pocket, and you've stopped thinking about your phone's limitations entirely. If that's the experience it delivers, that might be the most aggressive upgrade strategy Google has ever attempted, hiding a genuinely better phone inside a familiar shell and letting real-world use make the argument. So here's what I want to know from you. Do you trust a phone that looks unchanged? If the Pixel 11 Pro quietly outperforms everything in its class, better signal, better thermals, better all-day reliability, does the familiar exterior matter to you at all? Or does a phone need to look like a leap to feel like one? Drop your honest answer in the comments. This one is going to divide people, and I want to hear exactly where you stand. Subscribe now for early leaks, real breakdowns, and coverage that arrives before the launch hype takes over. The Pixel 11 series is just getting started.